Hello, welcome to War for the West Daily, the first edition. I'm going to be producing this every day from now on. I'm going to pick 3 issues and go through them in my inimicable way. So, welcome to the party. Hello, those of you who follow me already. Nice to meet you. Those who are just joining in, really welcome aboard. I'm kind of taking this game to another level, so let's see how it goes today. Just a quick introduction to those of you who may not know me. My handle is War for the West. My name's Glenn, 40-year tech veteran, guitar player, lots of other things, an avid reader, and an interest in current events in a silly way, an obsessive way. So what are we here to talk about today? Well, the 3 stories I've picked out today are, first was the British man getting 2 years in prison for a Facebook post. Okay, this is really something that it is hard for me to even read about, and I think it's something that. By the way, the reason I'm picking these stories, each of them are going to tell a story that helps illuminate the way our society in the West, not just the United States, but our society overall is failing and our politics are failing us. And generally, I'll be trying to map these events into socialist kind of ideologies, right? So let's look at what's going on in the UK. This is really pretty wild what happened to this guy. So let's go all the way up. So I should have been scrolled here. So here he is, ex-soldier, right? So this is a vet from where he's actually a veteran of the Afghani wars, of the Afghan and Iraq wars. I'm going to put myself up here. Sorry for the confusion. And he's, Daffron Williams got pissed off after the attacks in Southport. Well, that lunatic immigrant black kid went and just stabbed white girls for no reason. So let's stop there. The Southport stabbing. It's interesting. You're not supposed to overreact to that. Oh, really? Think about what happened there. There was no rhyme or reason for that stabbing. It wasn't like they got in a street dispute or something. He just went looking for white kids to go stab. 17-year-old, right? So, and it's awful. And he killed 2 little girls. 2 girls under 10, for God's sakes, doing a little dance, dance classes, the little Taylor Swift thing they were doing. It's so sick and depraved. And so Daffron Williams gets pissed off, and he said, Tommy Robinson is an effing hero, and he said that the Civil War is here. The only thing is missing bullets. That's the next step. Guy's in jail for 2 years for that. I want you to understand how you get there and how they reason this. In Britain, they pretend they have liberty and freedom just like us, right? If you talk to them, they will definitely tell you they're just as free as us, and they just have a different system. That's not true. And in fact, what they've done here is you don't have the absolute rights that you are guaranteed by our Constitution. And so in classic socialist fashion, here's what they're able to do. They're able to say stability is more important than your individual rights of speech. So because people react when he says things like that, therefore, for the purpose of global stability, not global, excuse me, stability in the community, in order to not have conflict and riot, he is being silenced. Remember, he's not threatening anything imminent here, okay? In the United States, he would have to say, let's go down and meet here and start shooting people. That would be imminent threat. This is considered hyperbole, what he said, right? So the way the Brits get away with it is they pretend that they're like saving society, and it's really kind of interesting how this is all kind of getting a lot more honest and brutal and authoritative now. The some senior government official in Australia just said the following: you can't have multiculturalism and free speech. It's actually not true. What happens is we can take the criticism as Christians and as Westerners and as white people, but when you start criticizing Muslims and other minorities from other countries, they get very, very sensitive and very touchy about it. They're criticizing Islam is going to cause rioting and all kinds of civil disturbances. And so think about that. You're actually giving the rioter a veto on speech. This is insane. That's the justification. By the way, they don't clamp down on all speech equally there, right? So it's only the majority that can cause this ruckus that matters. It doesn't matter what they've done to irritate the majority, who no longer going to be a majority any longer. Just think about how screwed up that is, right? We avoided this fate ourselves due to our Bill of Rights, but also due to people who worked really hard to stop them from censoring us. Because essentially what Joe Biden had done was the same thing over here. Inside of the administration, he had created a justification that was based on the stability of our democracy. And he literally put criticizing these institutions into a category of a national security threat. So we could deal with it via national security powers, not through the law. So through a lot of intelligence activities and other things, they were coordinating with other agencies. It's insane what they were doing. And we dodged this bullet ourselves. Okay, on to topic 2 for the day. Topic 2 for the day is a little update on immigration. One of my favorite. I think I'll move. I think. Oh, hang on a second, boy. I can tell you, I'm getting too crazy with the cheese whiz over here, grabbing the wrong things. Let's do it like this. I think I'm in the right place now. Okay, thanks for being patient with me. I got to get all this whole setup down for what I'm going to do every day. So IBM is laying off 9,000 people. I mean, what? They're going to slash another 9,000 jobs in the United States. By the way, there's already been 40,000 tech layoffs this year. I could show you that in something called TrueUp. This is really an interesting site that goes through tech, just basically tells us about layoffs and open tech jobs. And you can see what's happened, right? So tech jobs are down from the peak, and hiring, and and by the way, that was with the rate they were normally at, hiring 400,000 or so a year. Now we're down to half that. By the way, it's horrible. And what they're doing is IBM is moving this facility, basically hiring jobs in India, and laying off jobs in the U.S. This is at the how do I say this? This is at the due to the leadership of the new IBM CEO Arvind, Krishna, who is an Indian. He's essentially looting IBM for the purposes of India and Indians. This was even confirmed when the reporter did this interview, and on background he was told, these affected roles are expected to shift to India. This isn't illegal. And they were doing a lot of this, right? So it's like we just keep seeing layoff. So let's just see what we find here with IBM, what their history of layoffs is. Their trajectory score. Let's see where we're going here. 170 open jobs, right? I'm looking for a history of layoffs here. Sorry. There we go. Took me a moment to get to it. I was at the wrong part of the page. So 6 months ago, they laid off thousands. 7 months ago, they shut down. Interesting. They shut down operations in China. You see this happening more and more these days. It's quite interesting. There's a lot of trouble with doing things in China. You see a big reduction in companies having operations there. They cut jobs in marketing, communication, and they keep planning job cuts, even though the business is doing fine, right? So this is the history of IBM. And what is it doing? It's moving labor out of high-cost countries and into India. That's what it's doing. And this is the thing. So I don't understand how Trump can claim to want to deal with the trade deficit and not deal with the labor offshoring and outsourcing. It's just the same thing as putting your factory offshore. It's just as destructive to our economy. It's just as destructive to innovation, and it destroys the lives of American tech workers. I've kind of gone crazy on him because I'm really angry, and so I've kind of gone nuts online against IBM on this regard. And I guess I should show you some my tweets on this. I probably should have been more ready, but you know how I am. I kind of flow and roll and jiggle and jaggle here. Let's see the post I did. I'm getting pretty intense with them. This is a great post. I remember when IBM led the industry with massive innovation. Some of you might not know that happened. IBM did very well in the mini computer business. IBM did very well in the mainframe business. IBM had networking breakthroughs, software breakthroughs. They were like processing record transaction processing loads, et cetera, storage breakthroughs, memory breakthroughs, processor breakthroughs, AI breakthroughs forever. IBM was a massive innovative company. Today, Arvind Krishna is looting IBM and sending the loot to India for the benefit of Indians in India. And when I went on to ask, I said, Tom Massey, do you care? I love Tom Massey. He's a little too libertarian for me sometimes. So I'm trying to get on the radar screen. Chuck Grassley, how about you? He's a guy who supported American workers and limits on legal immigration before. Jim Jordan, he's all over the place. He's talking about doing a bill where we raise the pay rates for H-1Bs. I cannot tell you think of anything crazier as a way of dealing with the H-1B and legal visa problems and the tech worker problem than raising the pay, like making the threshold higher. You have to pay a certain amount. No, just end H-1B. We don't need it. There's no shortage of skilled workers. But, I'm just trying to get people's attention here. And I think what you need to understand is that at the elite levels of our nation still, in government and business, most people believe we have a skills shortage. It's been bashed into the head for 35 years with fake data and fake studies. And by the way, there's real academics who have contended this is incorrect, from Ron Heer at Howard University, Eric Weinstein, legendary mathematician, numerous others. There's actually been publications and whatnot. This idea that we have a skills gap for STEM and technical skills in the United States, it's simply erroneous, folks. It's just not true. Yeah? We're going to close out today on the last topic. And again, I'm picking these because I want to talk about what's going on and the trend in society, but look at little issues and distinct issues and kind of tie them to the bigger picture is what I'm trying to do here. So California is now going to issue a tax on EVs, and you'll pay per mile driven. This story is a real hoot. It kind of makes me laugh. So here's what happened. One of the reasons, by the way, EVs are so popular in California is gas is outrageously expensive out there. You pay 60-something cents a gallon tax on your gas when you buy it out there, and they have special refining capabilities. And so EVs were more attractive because of gas savings. Well, what happened is the tax revenue from the gas tax went down because less people are driving gas-powered cars. And so what happens is 59 cents a gallon, not 60. They were getting about $300 a year from each gas car. Now they're not getting it, so they've got to tax the EV now. And what they're going to do is monitor your car and tax you per mile driven. And remember, with an EV, all that monitoring's already there. And I'm sure it's in combustion engines now, but remember the way a Tesla is built or whatnot, this is something that you can very easily get. And it's really... This is tragic. I've always wondered when we were going to get to this point at some of these higher tax states where they literally just want to monitor how much you drive and know everywhere you go, right? And this is going to be under the illusion of, we want to charge you for the mileage driven and the road use, but this is really to get much better tracking data on you. So this should be fought, because letting one state do this is tragic, but it sets a pattern and a precedent for other blue states. Because it's not, the nation doesn't go the way California goes. The blue states go the way California goes. So this is really problematic. But this is, again, let's tie it back to the big themes of socialism and what I was trying to talk to you about, what I'm trying to connect with you about in this daily podcast video, whatever we're calling it that I'm doing here. When you decide, let's talk about what is socialism at its fundamental level, at the most basic level. Because this term is thrown around a lot, but I think a lot of people couldn't define it very well if they were asked. They think it's communism. No, socialism is an idea that predates Marx and communism. And the idea of socialism is a utilitarian one. And it basically says, look, the classical liberal order, where we just people have rights, and we just protect their rights, and it's there's no positive intervention by government. It's just making sure your rights aren't violated. simply doesn't bring about a just or good society. We need to be able to have the government intervene in society more in ways that might impede your individual rights, but always in a way that's better for the masses, or for the large number of people. So we're willing to impede and sort of kind of carve away at your individual rights to get the maximum good for people, right? And that's what this is always justified by in socialism. It's always like, well, we need, we've got to do this for the good of the people. But then how is that really for the good of the people? This is primarily for the government to extract more tax revenue and then establish a basis for tracking you, and God knows what else they're going to charge you for. That's the thing. They might have high density areas where they're going to charge you more. Look what they're doing in New York already. And when you put people in charge who think that their job is to come up with these schemes and run everything for you and just like solve problems via new government programs, new taxes, new laws, new regulations, there's no end to it. And they get to a crazy place like our federal government is, and like California is. And it's addictive for these people. They start to see themselves, first of all, as better than us, smarter than us, and charged with this great mission of running everything. And they don't understand when we get angry with them and don't appreciate it for all their great socialism. And they don't think they're bad people. That's the thing. But what they're doing is completely antithetical to the classical liberalism our Constitution guarantees us, and the sort of the gift of the Enlightenment that classical liberalism is. And so that's what I'm trying to get to in these talks. I hope this was helpful today. I hope you enjoyed it. Any feedback, any tips, tricks, how to do better here, I'm definitely wide open to suggestions. It's Glenn with War for the West, out. See you tomorrow, and thanks.